can annihilate.
Did not know black people said this.
And can annihilate the white man, you know, with his phallus. The white man has to build a missile to annihilate people of color. By that I mean this, that I think that the fundamental thing that is frightening white men and has frightened them since they were created as genetic mutations is that their appearance can be annihilated by the black man, especially the man who can create the most color, which is the black man in the whole human family. And that is the individual who has to be made inferior and who has to be controlled and has to be destroyed. At the fundamental level of genetic...
The white man secretly wants to be a black woman. That is his greatest wish.
That's the ISIS case.
That is his great... Francis Cress Welsing been telling us the same thing.
The Europeans didn't even live in houses. What they would do is they would dig holes in the ground. They would dig holes in the ground, and they would live in the holes in the ground, and then they would put wood and branches and stuff to cover the stuff up, and they used to live in the ground.
Trenches.
Now check this shit out. And so they would live in the ground, and it makes sense because then it would be snowed over. And they would live up under just like ants. They would live in the ground, and then in the summertime, the snow would melt, the dirt would turn to mud, and that's your origin of mud wrestling. It comes from when they used to live in holes in the ground. You see what I'm saying?
There's a book on that called Dirt.
The whole dirt thing. So the point here is, it still goes back to say, you can't match wits with no person that done went through that kind of damn shit. As far as trying to think on his evil level.
He really wants to go back to the underworld. That's why he wants the doo-wop, he wants the twat, he wants the black woman. Because she is a portal and a gateway to the never-ending story.
It's Caucasian. They became so warlike and such a big problem that the rest of the Moorish people got together and was like, what the hell are we going to do with these guys? You know, they just won't stop. They're going to overtake everything and destroy us. So they decided to banish them. This is where you get the concept of being banished from the Garden of Eden, and dump them in the cooler, less sun-like atmosphere of Europe, and leave them there. Perfect prison. Why? Because to the north you got snow, to the south you've got the mountain ranges, to the west you've got the Atlantic Ocean, and to the east, lo and behold, out of nowhere comes the Great Wall of China. You have to remember what comprised the Moorish legacy. It was known as the Amexem Empire. Now the entire Amexem Empire went from Mongolia to South Africa, over to South America, and up through all of North America. They were known as the Asiatic nations.
Concerned about, I say that the fact that they cannot produce color, that they have decided that they're going to dominate everybody else who has this genetic capacity, who can genetically annihilate them. You see, comes one drop of black blood makes you black. That is a statement of the genetic dominance of the capacity to produce color.
The tribes of Europe who spawned the vermin that infests the collective body of humanity. The human vermin that has seeded our kind with psycho-spiritual diseases, killing our spirit and the spirit of our planet.
Himself in having become the world's quintessential sophisticated savage.
400 arrests, one beach. Is this story flying under the radar, or was it pushed there? The media wants to report about everything under the sun, but I ain't heard a peep about the 400 mostly white teens that was arrested at Newport Beach over the July 4th weekend. I ain't heard nothing. And according to the footage, it was a mess. I mean, they destroying property, they looting stores. I mean, it was a mess and we ain't heard nothing. 400 arrests now at one beach. That should be coast to coast news. That should be coast to coast news. I wonder why. Sweet Jesus, somebody tell me why. Why ain't it being reported? It can't be because they mostly white teens. That couldn't possibly be the reason. Could it? 400.
I am not bothered whatsoever when people say cracker.
Do you want to know why, Pilgrim boy? Because that word does not historically come from a place of oppression, neither socially nor systemically. The way that that word came about is because when black slaves were going to get whipped, sometimes the slaves would say, "Here comes the cracker," because that is the sound that the whip made on their back. Crack, crack, hence cracker. Here comes the cracker. It's not a slur. White people were not oppressed systemically nor socially, so you shouldn't be offended. It doesn't come from a place of degrading you. It doesn't come from a place of disrespecting white people. It doesn't come from a place of hurting you. On the contrary, it comes from a place of identifying somebody that's going to bring on the hurt, the oppression. So when white people get on video talking about, we don't care, we don't get offended when you use the cracker word, you were never oppressed. You were never lynched. You were never unalived when called cracker. It came from a place of identifying the people that are bringing the hurt.
When it comes to racism, the difference between you and me is that when you say the N-word is racist and that you're not changing your mind, I say, okay, I disagree with you, but I respect your opinion. But when I say the N-word isn't racist and I'm not changing my...
And this is the hypocrisy of white people. Of a collective of people that have a history of whenever that word was said, it means here comes the white man to whip, to grape, to abuse, to harm, to lynch, to unalive. You know what's crazy? There is not a single word that exists, a single slur that exists, that any non-white people have used to oppress white people. Peckerwood, hillbilly, redneck, these are words invented by you to identify yourselves. It's white people identifying other white people depending on the class. Hillbilly, a lower class than the uppity white people. Rednecks, the poor white people that were always out working in the sun. But what about the N-word? What about the word wetback? What about the word sand nigger? What about the word gook, chink? Every slur ever invented against non-white people was invented by white people and always came from a place of hatred, of oppression, of hurting non-white people. White people have invented all kinds of words like mestizo, like mulatto, to identify their own children in a very degrading way because these children were born mixed with a non-white woman. Literally identifying their own children as half-breed animals. Name me one word, one slur that has ever been used to oppress white people. It doesn't exist. If I call you a redneck, a cracker, a pilgrim, a colonizer, have we oppressed you in the name of these words? Systemically, socially, have we put you through slavery? Have we passed a law that targets you? Have we ever scholastically, environmentally, economically oppressed and or harmed you? Does the word exist where you have collective trauma, historical trauma under any slur? The answer is no. The answer is no. Now ask all these other non-white people, whether it be Filipinos, the Aboriginal people of Australia, the indigenous people of New Zealand, the indigenous people of the Americas. Ask them if a slur exists, a slur invented by white people, that they've been called by white people, that has any historical trauma. All these people will answer yes. I don't get mad when you call me. Why would you? Point to me the system that exists that was created by non-white people to oppress white people. You can't. It doesn't exist. How do you compare the word cracker to the N-word? How do you compare the word cracker to wetback, to gook, chink?
Even though I can't stand when niggas complain about slavery, I actually really don't mind Juneteenth as a federal holiday because it's the one day in the year where black people actually commemorate white people for getting rid of slavery instead of fucking complaining about it. When it comes to racism, the difference between you and me is that when you say the N-word is racist and that you're not changing your mind, I say, okay, I disagree with you, but I respect your opinion. But when I say the N-word isn't racist and I'm not changing my mind, you call me ignorant, racist, uneducated, and every fucking label under the sun. But you know what? I understand it, because if I ran out of arguments and wanted to make myself look stupid, I'd start throwing random insults too. Did you know that according to recent statistics, pit bulls make up 6% of the dog population but commit 66% of the fatal and severe attacks on humans? So if you're in the neighborhood and you're walking around and you intentionally avoid a group of pit bulls, it's not because you hate dogs, but it's because you're not taking your chances. You have pattern recognition. And while this is a true statistic, I'm not talking about dogs.
I am not bothered whatsoever when people say cracker. I'm genuine about that. There was this fat black dude at the Carmel.
I am addicted to this electrical.
Okay, so this is how it's going down. This is how it's going down. Black people are doing the gray rock method. If you've never heard of the gray rock method, let me explain how this is going on. See, the government is trying to get a reaction out of the indigenous people to start a racial war. So that's why they're doing all these storylines with.
Trust me, baby, they don't want that shit. They dream of being that fucking brave, but they would never, ever go on record to say this is the mission, because that shit would be suicide.
All the tragic events that are occurring, and this is the kicker.
And not to mention that right there would be the tip of the motherfucking scale. I guarantee you. They already, tip.
That's why the indigenous people are not out here tearing up the town, putting belt the ass, because this is the season where we let them themselves, and they're not moving. So that's why they keep on doing this. I really figured this out. They want to get a reaction out of the indigenous people why they keep on doing this, and the indigenous people are not really buying it. You have your 50% of people that are feeding into it and things like that, and then you have your other 50% that is like, man, that is not true. This shit is fake, clown shit. And this is how you know that they are losing control. Now, I posted a video about how this whole thing of NOLA is scripted. And furthermore, it always comes to me. When I went and looked at this video of the mother, the quote unquote, the mother, the attorney, and the dad speaking, where is Tyler Perry at? Is this a Tyler Perry production? Because if you are not in a state where you can read body language and pick up what they are putting down, you are still stuck in the matrix. You haven't crossed over. You're still in a third realm. However, I will include a clip of this, and those that can depict and pick up and put down, you're going to see that the whole thing is not true. It's not real. It's not real. It's all lies. You've been lied to. But I could be more proud of the indigenous people not putting boot to ass. Yeah, they want a reaction, and most of the indigenous people out in the gym, child, they out on vacation. They trying to do everything, even down to Jay-Z and Beyonce. The music is done. There's no comeback. Nobody is interested in none of this. I see now that I can see that the indigenous people have woke up. They know that it's us versus them. And I'm starting to see it. Matter of fact, to get off topic, I went to the Dollar Tree, for instance, and they said the people walked out. They don't know how. They had to get somebody to come run the store because they have no people. Then I went to Walmart. And they say the managers quit. And, it's turning, y'all. It's turning. It's turning. It's turning. I promise you, it is turning in our favor. Oh, this is the season that we are silent. We are the watchers. We are looking. And they're scrambling. They have no more plays in the deck, bro. They have no more plays in the deck. Because now indigenous people are starting to understand that all of this is a script. Time after time. It's the same from Trayvon Martin to all of these stories that are not even true. Because once you go back and you look at it, there has never been no justice. There's never been no follow-up behind it. What happened to the boy getting an attorney? You got the same attorney representing every black incident. You got this same attorney that's probably not even a U.S. citizen. His African booty scratching looking ass. He's always up on the scene. He works for the CIA. Come on. People are putting this together that it don't make sense. So I say dus to say indigenous people, lay low. We're laying low. This is the season of laying low. Ashe, y'all are doing a fabulous job of not reacting to this scripted shit. Because this shit is scripted and the acting is so bad. The acting is so bad. When you look at this video, when I drop this video at the end, when you look at it, just look at it, you all. Look at the body language. Look at there's no emotions behind it. Then you got the white dude behind him, which is probably to tell him, don't say too much. Because first of all, y'all came out with the story and said these was his friends. But then when you pulled up to his house to get the keys, you had to introduce yourself. I'm telling you, yo, he was going off the script. And that's why they were like the handlers. They are all getting paid. They're all in this together. This is bad acting. Crisis actors, even Trump, you know, if y'all hate his guts or whatever, it's bad acting, yo. Check this video out. Drop your thoughts in the comments, but keep it cute. Those who still believe this story, let them. Those who know what's up, you know what's up. Ashe.
They were already there. They were at the door in the house, asking questions. I walked up, things were getting kind of tense, so I turned to them and told them, I need you guys to calm down. I don't do this to me right now. I need them to kind of trust me so they can give me something. So I was able to calm them down. Guy, he's in one of the pictures. He came out of the room, half asleep or whatever, I think Jax or whatever. And I said, look, I'm Nolan's father. I'm here to get his keys so I can get his car. I said, he's like,
his car was in the yard.
His car's parked in the yard. So he was like, I don't know, man. Nolan's like my brother. I said, well, if Nolan was like your brother, would you please go in your room and see if you can find my son's keys so I can take his car home? He walks off, 2 or 3 minutes, come back. I can't find the keys. I said, okay. So at that point, I get the boys and I move them out the house because I didn't want them to go into the house and start tearing up these people's houses because there'd never be a whole nother situation. So walk outside by the car. One of the guys that was in the house with us, he was on the phone with a girl, and the girl told him that Nolan's keys were on top of this Jax guy's Xbox in the house because apparently she was there with him earlier. So he goes back up to the door by himself, and 5 minutes later, the keys come out. So now I feel like you done lied to me. So now I'm really like in distress with you. But as far as that night goes, if I knew anyone who had a boat, I would have went out that night looking for my son. We tried, but I don't have friends with boats. But if I knew someone with one, I would have went out that night. And this so happened that his coach saw all the stuff on Facebook that next morning and called and contacted me at like 5 in the morning, asked me did we want to go out. And I told him yes. So within an hour, he was at the dock. We met him, and we went out. We docked the boat, got off the boat, walked on the island, walked a pretty nice stretch, came back, got back on the boat, went around the island, looked, came back around, and where we went to, that's where apparently they say that his body floated up. I don't know a lot about water currents over there, but I would think that we would have saw his body. And on the trip there was a family that stayed a night on the island. If he was left, he would have saw that family on the island, and there was 2 other boats docked, so he would have had help. So I don't know. We stayed there for like an hour. That's when Jackson County and the sheriff department showed up. They were going to do their rounds, and I had a classmate of mine, him and his 2 boys, they came out and they searched, and then they got back in touch with me and said the Coast Guard had finally showed up.
Now, I hope some of you all picked up through that video what really was going on. Bad acting, bro. I gotta laugh at this because this is super funny. This is comical, y'all. I'm telling you, go back and watch it again if you didn't pick up all the downloads from that video.
Okay, things that the general public doesn't seem to understand. All the history that you were told about America conquering. That you were told about America conquering this and that is complete and utter bullshit. Let me tell you what really happened. The position what really happened. The position of the Pope was created when all of the Jewish people were being expelled from all the lands that they were in. They created something called the Pope, which is the Roman fucking Empire. Now, that Roman Empire, as the Pope with a fake religious leading, which if you look into it, the very first Pope is in fact a Jewish man. So what happened is he declared that through the unam sanctum, that it was the Pope's job to subdue the entire world and bring everybody into admiralty. The waters that you hear about in the Bible that flooded the earth was actually admiralty jurisdiction. That was declared by the Pope when he decided that he was supposed to be in charge of all the living men and women in the world. And since everybody was tricked into religion and taught out of spirituality, that they all fell for it because it was a new group of people that they were teaching it to through stolen children. Now, what happened was, once they had conquered the majority of what is now known as the Eastern world, which is actually the Western because they flipped the maps, they released something called the Doctrine of Discovery. The Doctrine of Discovery is what gave them permission to come to these lands and try to subdue these lands using religion, which is why the King James Bible made it to these lands and started changing things here. You see, the Bible wasn't a religious book until it got into the hands of the wrong people, and that was only due to the fact that I believe it was the Ming Dynasty came here during the 1300s and mapped out the majority of the land to the 1400s, which brought it back over to the other side of the world, which then turned into the other side of the world, realizing that there was things to conquer over here through what was being taught to the Ming Dynasty, which is why you see all those beautiful structures and pyramids and things over there in China and things of that nature. That's where they got it from. They learned it from here. Now, what happened was, once these technologies and these creations of free energy and things were being utilized by China, it was learned of by the people that were running the other parts of that world, which is also known as the Ottoman Empire, which would be the last of the Khans, the Genghis Khans actually, but turned into Turks and things of that nature. Now, through them discovering all of these things that were actually being taught and learned over here, which was greater than anything they had there, and through the Moors of this land, which are reclassified as Indian and all these other things, right? And they were only called Moors by those people. That was not the name of the people from here. Okay, that was a name that was given. Now, the thing was that when they went over to these other lands, they went over there with these great golds and jewels and technology and started conquering things there, which put them under a thumb of war. So they wanted to return and fight everything. So because of the fact that they were being crushed and dissolved by the few that went over there, they decided that they needed to come over here and wreak havoc by lying and saying that they were trying to escape the things that were going on over there. They were under religious persecution, which you heard about in your history classes, but what they weren't telling you is that it was the Jewish people from all of these different nations that were actually coming over here under the guise of being named after all of these other different nations that they made up. So by them coming over here what they did was brought all of the indentured servants and the stolen children and things over here, telling them they were fleeing from religious persecution, which when they found out here, the people of this land, my ancestors on my father's side, discovered that what they were actually doing was horrific fucking acts towards the people. They went to war with them, which led them into bringing all of the fucking different nations over here under the guise that we were these crazy ass fucking people. And so what ended up happening was we had originally given them permission to come to these lands and create settlements. This was done through the treaties. The Treaty of Peace and Friendship is what established their ability for them to set up their corporation here, which we found out was fucked up. And so, you know, we went to war with them. But the problem is that since I don't want to say the Ming Dynasty. I know it's somebody else that I'm not quoting correctly. But since they had already had people that had left out of here to go over there, what had actually happened was that it was easy for them to slip in agents by having people that were the eunuchs, which was the dark-skinned people from the Caucasus Mountains, and the Asiatics, which were the darks, which were also stemming from the Caucasus Mountains, were the people that were mixing together in order to make agents that looked similar to the Indians that they found here. Now, Indian is also another term that they made up. So this is the thing, is that because of the fact that they were able to mix the eunuchs and the Indians, which were all their indentured servants, which were nothing but stolen people that they were forcing to breed together to make a look that looked similar to the people that were from here, by breeding what you consider Africans and what you consider Chinese and Japanese people together, made them come up with a look that was similar to some of the people that had already been here, due to the fact that the one dynasty had already been here prior to that. So it made it easy for them to mix in, which gave a feeling of being family from other lands. And so that made it so that they were more welcoming to them to come here. But what they didn't realize is that they were welcoming the beasts and that were enslaving and harming and stealing the fucking children and using them for ritual fucking practices. And so what you have is hundreds of thousands of children being stolen, because when they brought the adults over here, what had happened is we revolted with the adults against them, and so they pretended to stop their bullshit and started stealing all the children. Now, if you look into this, you're going to see history of all the different countries across the world, which are actually nation-state republics that were just recently named within the last 100 years. And if you look into this, you're going to find everything that I'm telling you about. You just have to do a little bit of research. All of those places across these were actually mimics and mirrors of places that they found here, so that it would reverse the history and make it seem like everybody was coming from over there and everything started from over there. But this is the cradle of civilization, the real what you would call Egypt, the real what you would call the ancient world. The problem that you're having with the maps today is that they have you looking at Mexico as though that's Central America, but the truth of it is the United States would be Central / Mesoamerica. They've just reclassified everything and removed everything through the history that they gave in order to change things. See, the people that were of color were never supposed to be in their history classes, and it's only due to the fact that we actually were put into their schooling system that we found out about the lies that they were teaching to everybody that they were bringing over here, giving them these ideas of conquering and all this other shit, which was actually just underhanded fucking lies and deceit of bringing in massive amounts of people under the guise of escaping. You know, kind of like the same exact thing you saw happening in Palestine. So the thing is that they've lied to you, because the treaty is what you're actually protected by being born here. That makes you a Moor by blood, because you're born of the soil, which means that you're protected by treaty rights, not the Constitution. The Constitution, the treaty was the original trust that was created. The United States Corporation is a private nonprofit that was created underneath of that trust. The Constitution is the charter and the bylaws of that nonprofit organization that explicitly exchanges in indentured servants. That's a child trafficking, human trafficking corporation by definition. That's why we go to war all the time, is because when you go to war, that creates refugees, which become new citizens. The whole business of that thing, of that corporation, is to create citizens in order for them to feed themselves and farm all of the people of the planet. So what you're missing in the picture is the fact that once the Pope, who was the one, you know, the current Pope, not the current Pope, but the one before him that released, that told the Obama administration to shut down the corporation and dissolve it and return everything back to the people, that also went on TV and dissolved the doctrine of discovery, saying that they no longer backed it and that didn't represent the things. He did that because he knew in his heart that what was being done was wrong and things weren't changing. That's why they got rid of him. That's why they had to move in another pope. All right, so by dissolving the corporation, that dissolves the Constitution. So we've been under a new regime since the Obama administration, and y'all are missing that because you're looking at the Constitution like that's the thing that's supposed to protect you, when really it's the treaties. The treaties are for the living men and women of this land. And that's where you're fucking up at, is leaning on the Constitution of a dead organization that's been dissolved publicly across the entire world, that you're still operating under like it still fucking exists, when all of that agency and all of its agents are supposed to be gone. Okay, things that the general public doesn't seem to understand. All the history that you were told about America conquering this and that is complete and utter bullshit. Let me tell you what really happened. The position of the Pope was created when all of the Jewish people were being expelled from all the lands that they were in. They created something called the Pope, which is the Roman fucking Empire. Now, that Roman Empire, as the Pope with a fake religious leading, which if you look into it, the very first Pope is in fact a Jewish man. So what happened is he declared that through the unam sanctum, that it was the Pope's job to subdue the entire world and bring everybody into admiralty. The waters that you hear about in the Bible that flooded the earth was actually admiralty jurisdiction. That was declared by the Pope when he decided that he was supposed to be in charge of all the living men and women in the world. And since everybody was tricked into religion and taught out of spirituality, that they all fell for it because it was a new group of people that they were teaching it to through stolen children. Now, what happened was, once they had conquered the majority of what is now known as the Eastern world, which is actually the Western because they flipped the maps, they released something called the Doctrine of Discovery. The Doctrine of Discovery is what gave them permission to come to these lands and try to subdue these lands using religion, which is why the King James Bible made it to these lands and started changing things here. You see, the Bible wasn't a religious book until it got into the hands of the wrong people, and that was only due to the fact that I believe it was the Ming Dynasty came here during the 1300s and mapped out the majority of the land to the 1400s, which brought it back over to the other side of the world, which then turned into the other side of the world, realizing that there was things to conquer over here through what was being taught to the Ming Dynasty, which is why you see all those beautiful structures and pyramids and things over there.
I am addicted to this electric.
Holy shit, I have some great breaking news for you. I mean, this is amazing. Donald Trump is definitely having one of his worst days yet of his second administration. A federal judge in Florida has ruled that Trump's attempt to block the government from investigating him or his family members ever again for tax fraud was illegal. If you're unaware, a couple months ago, Donald Trump sued the IRS, which was basically him suing himself because he appointed the head of the IRS, and then settled with himself in this lawsuit. And a part of that settlement included the vow from the government that they would never investigate him for tax fraud again. Today, that settlement has been nullified. But it gets even better. The judge was so pissed off because of how brazenly corrupt and illegal the settlement was that they referred Trump's lawyer to the Florida bar, basically telling the state that they should take away this dude's license to practice law. That's all for now. Make sure to hit that follow button to stay in the loop. This is a big win. Holy shit, I have some great breaking news for you. I mean, this is amazing. Donald Trump is definitely having one of his worst days yet of his second administration. A federal judge in Florida has ruled that Trump's attempt to block the government from investigating him or his family members ever again for tax fraud was illegal. If you're unaware, a couple months ago, Donald Trump sued the IRS, which was basically him suing himself because he appointed the head of the IRS, and then settled with himself in this lawsuit. And a part of that settlement included the vow from the government that they would never investigate him for tax fraud again. Today, that settlement has been nullified. But it gets even better. The judge was so pissed off because of how brazenly corrupt and illegal the settlement was that they referred Trump's lawyer to the Florida bar, basically telling the state that they should take away this dude's license to practice law. That's all for now. Make sure to hit that follow button to stay in the loop. This is a big win. Holy shit, I have some great breaking news for you. I mean, this is amazing. Donald Trump is definitely having one of his worst days yet of his second administration. A federal judge in Florida has ruled that Trump's attempt to block the government from investigating him or his family members ever again for tax fraud was illegal. If you're unaware, a couple months ago, Donald Trump sued the IRS, which was basically him suing himself because he appointed the head of the IRS, and then settled with himself in this lawsuit. And a part of that settlement included the vow from the government that they would never investigate him for tax fraud again. Today, that settlement has been nullified. But it gets even better. The judge was so pissed off because of how brazenly corrupt and illegal the settlement was that they referred Trump's lawyer to the Florida bar, basically telling the state that they should take away this dude's license to practice law. That's all for now. Make sure to hit that follow button to stay in the loop. This is a...
You asked me now what is always something to be reckoned with, of course, are the viewer comments, and we will start with this, what we teased at the top. MDH Vancouver 7185, who says this: after watching hours upon hours of Shedeur Sanders videos over the past 5 years, I can finally say with absolute confidence, you asked me now what is always something to be reckoned with, of course, are the viewer comments, and we will start with this, what we teased at the top. MDH Vancouver 7185, who says this: after watching hours upon hours of Shedeur Sanders videos over the past 5 years, I can finally say with absolute confidence, you asked me now what is always something to be reckoned with, of course, are the viewer comments, and we will start with this, what we teased at the top. MDH Vancouver 7185, who says this: after watching hours upon hours of Shedeur Sanders videos over the past 5 years, I can finally say with absolute confidence, you asked me now what is always something to be reckoned with, of course, are the viewer comments, and we will start with this, what we teased at the top. MDH Vancouver 7185, who says this: after watching hours upon hours of Shedeur Sanders videos.
If editing is the reason why you're...
What's up, everybody? This is Rebel. And let me talk to you for a second, because not we, but a lot of people is falling asleep. We just coming to the realization that there's another hidden hand called the black nobility that's running this, that look like us. And white people is the scapegoat to, they the ones who took the bag. Now we're realizing that. So you got all these outlets. First of all, let's go back in history, okay? Let's go back in history. Let's go back to the Bacon Rebellion when the white and black people were standing together. And we was about to overtake the government back then. But what they did is they had to tell the white people, because they knew that we would overturn them. So they had to tell the white people that we'll give you this and we'll give you trinkets if you turn against the black people. See, it's the same thing, and y'all not picking up. Okay. Ben Crump, this lawyer, He takes all of the cases, all of these cases that come out, he take them because I don't think he's a real lawyer. We know he's a Mason. Now I want you to think about this. What have Mason and Eastern Stars did for us? Besides stood on our back and told us everything was going to be okay and nothing never got better. What is Barack Obama? What is he? What is he? He a boule. What was Martin Luther King? A boule. And everybody he threw, they in our face. Anybody that was black that we would listen to, they threw in our fucking face and told us that, you know, listen to them because y'all don't have the capability to take care of yourself. And what they doing is they putting y'all back in that box. This is what they're doing and y'all not seeing it. Y'all not seeing the bigger picture of this. Y'all not seeing the bigger picture. Because if y'all think you got to listen to this, your organ that you're trying to fight over, this organ, this skin that you're trying to fight over, do you know how very ignorant that is? That's very ignorant. In order for you to be on earth, you have to have this organ. Whether it's light-skinned, whether it's my complexion, it don't matter. You got to have this organ. You can't live without it. For you to be on this realm, you have to have it. They want to tell you to fight with white people because they know that's all they got left. And they know once we wake up to the truth, it's over for their ass. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. So that's why they want us to target white people. And, oh, if a white, let me tell you something. Let me tell you my little story, okay? Because I didn't have white friends too, like we all did had. Even though our parents told us, our Masonic and Eastern Star parents told us never to fuck with them. We still had friends and wasn't white friends and there wasn't nothing they can do. Okay, I forgot. I know I was living in Hammond, Indiana. At the time, we was living in Hammond, Indiana. I had a white friend. Her name was Angie. And I would go to this girl's house. Her father would bring me home because we lived in apartments. They lived in a house. Her father would bring me home. They treated me like family. They treated me like family. So what had happened is I went to this man had a bike. And I heard the bike, and you know, so it threw me off a little bit. So I went to where her father stayed at, because her mother and father was divorced, but her mother was married again. So I went to where her father stayed at. It was an all-white town. An all-white town. I stayed there for 7 days and came back, and I was 14 years old. So when y'all talk that, do you know how many black melanated children then went with white people and came back home? Let me tell you something. Stop falling for the okie doke. All these people, okay, the girl who claimed she held her baby up and they shot the baby. Who in their right mind would hold a baby up to some police officers? You're not going to do that. That's number one. You're going to protect the child. They showed a picture of her. She burying the baby, got some flowers in her hand, laughing, smiling, happy as hell. Because she about to get a check. Because guess what? She played her role. Y'all got to know about these psyops. This psychological warfare. Because that's all what it is. And what they're trying to do, they are afraid. These upper people, the ones that these black nobility, they are afraid. Because they see we ain't going for their shit no more. They see that we're waking up to who the hell we are. And we don't have to take their shit. They see that. And a lot of you falling right.
Yo, Houston. We might have a problem. These next two clips, man, before I even say this, yo, white people, you know I love y'all. But these next two clips is going to show you what happens when you let old white people run the world or stay in positions for way too long. And this is why I always talk term limits when I start talking politics. Watch these next two clips. The next one I'm about to show you is a movie that Tom Cruise is doing. Watch this, and I'll be right back.
So y'all check this out. This is the trailer to Digger, starring Tom Cruise.
You
He's
know,
an oil tycoon.
one day you're a cat, just take a little taste for daddy. Come on, sweetheart. Or a king. The next day you're just asses in a box. How long would you say she has?
Between 2 weeks, 5 minutes.
Mr. Rockwell, my name is Sandy Clarkson.
Yeah, Sandy. How you been, buddy? You're the man with the 5-foot crap. Glacier over there in Greenland, it shifts 5 feet. Now, this desk in front of me is bigger than 5 feet.
Mr. Rockwell.
My dick is a tenth of that size. What do you want me to shut down a $1 billion platform over something that's 10 times the size of my dick?
I don't believe you understand what's happening, sir.
What did you just say?
Sorry, sir.
Well, I know perfectly well what's going on there, because I'm paying for the whole thing. I'm paying for your fucking 90% Hungarian goose down winter jacket. I'm paying your salary. You want to shut her down?
Well,
say it!
Mr. President, we're utterly unprotected against a disaster of this magnitude. What's our worst case scenario?
$18 trillion, sir.
Is that all the bad fucking news?
There's the nuclear waste, too.
Digger here got us into this mess, and Digger's gonna dig us out again.
Well, let's fucking go.
And we're very grateful to white people. So I'm very, very proud and very grateful for white people, and I always will be. And nothing will ever change my mind or make me feel embarrassed or ashamed to say white lives matter.
Hey, bro, why are you putting us Asian people on blast like that? Not all of us hate black people, and the ones of us because we are evil. It's because blacks act ghetto and always want to come around acting like they own everything, acting like we all owe them something. They are very disrespectful people and never own up to their ghetto-ass culture, always complaining about everything. Black fatigue is a very real thing, bro. And maybe you never live around them, but I have, and they are unpleasant to be around. We Asians have no issue with Mexicans at all, so please remove that video because it is affecting our reputation and our businesses. Thanks. Now, the reason that I'm reading this inbox is because this is one of the many, and I mean many, private messages. And I mean many private messages that I got from Asians after the video that I posted. And the reason why I read this after the video that I posted, and the reason why I read this one in particular is because this was the only one that didn't include so much profanity and also so many N-words, slurs, anti-black slurs to be specific. Because although this particular DM obviously has some anti-black sentiments, it doesn't use profanity and also slurs versus the other DMs that are packed with anti-black slurs. Now normally when somebody DMs me, especially to try to get me to remove one of my videos or trying to address me because one of my videos, I never respond, but I responded to this one because after I read that and after I got so many DMs from Asians trying to demand that I remove my video, I decided before responding that I was going to make a video about this. So this is what I responded. There are 0% Asians in the comment section of that video, and I assumed that it was because no Asians watched it, but the amount of Asians that have flooded my DMs since the video, it has allowed me that a very large amount of Asians did watch it. And rather than commenting with attempts to repair the damages of the Asians that are expressing so much anti-black sentiment of the Asians that are expressing so much anti-black sentiment, instead y'all are choosing to secretly ask me to remove the video. Not because you're sorry for your anti-blackness, but because it is affecting your businesses. Wow. How do you, as an Asian, watch and listen to this
the fucking Asian community, they're probably thanking God that your fucking black ass don't fucking go into their fucking store anymore to cause a fucking muck. You fucking black fucking people with your black fatigue, okay? And what your people call niggerism. You see this whole Cyrus case and Mr. Chow? None of this would have happened if you motherfuckers raise your fucking kids right. That fucking
Bitch, shut up.
little boy witnessed some of his business trying to steal fucking water, okay? That niggerism fucking attitude failed your fucking kid. And if you can't understand and take a
It's funny when I hear Asian people talking about niggerism. And when you go and look at Asian culture, all they do is imitate black people. So who's the niggas? Because all I see is y'all motherfuckers break dancing and wearing little sweatsuits and talking slang and your haircuts and all that shit. Get the fuck out of here.
accountability for your fucking failure, this will continue. More black kids are gonna die.
How do you listen and watch that? And the only response that you have is, can you please remove this video? Because it's making us look bad and it is affecting our business. See, what you could have done, the responsible thing to do, is you as Asians who don't agree with this, is you should be making videos to attack anti-blackness, the anti-blackness that exists in Asian cultures. See, one of the statements that I made on my video was the fact that Asian cultures worship whiteness and are anti-black. For example,
And we're very grateful to white people. So I'm very, very proud and very grateful for white people, and I always will be. And nothing will ever change my mind or make me feel embarrassed or ashamed to say white lives matter.
Asians get on camera to worship, to protect, to praise whiteness. But when it comes to black people, they do this.
Race is a charged topic for those who make it about race. I'm not gonna prioritize the feelings of those who make race-based victimhood their identity, because I generally don't care.
He doesn't prioritize the feelings of those who make race-based victimhood identity. And in that, you would assume that he stays out of making content about race and or race issues. However,
So here's an update on our boy Chud the Builder, fellow feral American, our little brother who gave us raw entertainment at his own expense.
our little brother who gave us raw entertainment at his expense. Your little brother, because he gave you raw entertainment. What was the raw entertainment? Let's check it out.
Or what, nigger?
Stop saying nigga.
Or what?
Why you saying nigga for?
You might want to back up. You're going to get sprayed.
Why the fuck you saying nigga?
Because I can say it's America.
But why?
Because I can say what I want, nigger. Or what? Go pick up my hat, nigger. You heard me, nigga. Fuck your shit. Touch me again. Touch me again, nigger. That's what I thought.
So on one hand, you are idolizing, you are supporting an openly racist white supremacist. You are encouraging white people to do that shit. And on another hand, you're doing what?
I can smell it. A mainstream blacks versus Asian people debate. And I'm telling you right now, it ain't coming from us. We don't want to be associated with that victim mentality bullshit. You people with a resentful victim mentality is poison. There's a trend of a certain mindset of black people calling in Asian-owned business to make them lose money because of the Rick Chow and Cyrus case. Do not give these people anecdotal fuel to fuel their own narrative or justification. Because if you do, they'll end up stealing or causing more havoc in the communities and society and will end up footing the bill. Best thing to do is support your Asian business.
Asian people, don't DM me to complain about my video. Don't demand that I remove it. Instead, address the fact that your Asian cultures are anti-black on one hand, and on the other hand, you worship whiteness. You seek white proximity when you come to this country from your Asian countries. If you have a problem with that, address it. Respond to these Asian content creators that make videos to uplift and worship whiteness, white supremacy, meanwhile turn around and express anti-blackness. Because this is what goes on in Asia.
哪有那么黑呀？
你为什么这么黄呢？
不黄，
你不黄吗？
我不黄，是红的。
我是黑种人，你是黄种人。
美国也有黑人。你车上有枪吗？车上有枪吗？
So people are stomping on, punching, and even pouring boiling water on a black baby-shaped stress relief doll known as the Natasha doll. The backlash grew after some users claimed the white version looked too human to hurt. Many people called the explanation racist and dehumanizing.
Stay out of my DMs and address your people instead. My comment section about Asians has no Asians in it. None. Assuming none of you watched it. But obviously, so many of you watched it because you are flooding my DMs demanding that I remove the video. Not because you're ashamed of your anti-blackness, by the way, but because it is affecting your black businesses.
And we're very grateful to white people. So I'm very, very proud and very grateful for white people. And I always will be. And nothing will ever change my mind or make me feel...
Yep, I'm back at it. Happy Father's Day. And let me do what a father does. Gets the house right. The 5 civilized tribes are fake white Indians. No, I'm not being racist. The term white is used there. Some of you misunderstand this term. You think it's a status term. No, it's not. I'm about to show you that. The 5 civilized tribes are fake white Indians. So here we have it. The 5 civilized tribes. Take a screenshot of this and you see 1890. What are we about to behold? Here we go. Now you read up here and it tells you this census has about 170,000 some odd people. Watch the number of white people that are on this, and then we have to ask ourselves a question. So here you see Indians, then you have Negroes, and they have white people. Do you see these numbers? Take a screenshot of that. Let's get a close-up. So, in 1890, out of 178,000 Indians, 109,000 are white? Hold on. So anthropologists, archaeologists, everybody will admit that white people were brought here. Even scientists who advocate human evolution don't advocate that white people, Neanderthals, or whatever, that they evolved here. And for you Eurasians who say y'all came here 30,000 to 15,000 years ago, we must reiterate that your scientists are saying no one in Europe or Eurasia had pale skin beyond 8,000 years ago, 7,000 to 8,000 years ago. So even if y'all came across the Bering Strait, they was looking like me. So how did these pale Eurasians and white people, if that's 109,000 people out of 178,000. The Chickasaw in this book are 90% white. I need you to understand, based on my last video, this is a crime. Now we're talking about actionable work. What type of actionable work? Meaning, Congress has the duty and responsibility based on current statutory law in the United States for anyone who is impersonating an American Indian to take action. It is a crime. The Justice Department, once we submit this stuff, y'all are about to go crazy because we're drawing the line. And the line is this: if you have officers of government that will allow white people to insert themselves into indigenous tribal governments unlawfully in breach of their own law, there's only two resolutions. Resolution 1, we have all the names, surnames, and family members. Remove them all. Do your duty. Or 2,
if you're going to commit treason against our ancestry by allowing them to insert themselves in and work to denationalize us, the people are the government. So this is not about overthrowing the government, it's about overthrowing the officials. Let's go further. We have too many records. This is King Data. Read it, screenshot. I'm about to give you some quotes about him. He was in the area known as South Carolina now, which was called Florida at the time. Okay, so I took the quote from this book, all right? De Orbe Novo from 1530. So they're talking about King Data, and they say he's a gigantic sovereign. And he was in a palace of stone, stoneworks. He was considered a giant. And they even had idols in the palace. This is in South Carolina. Where is the palace today? A gigantic Indian king called Data who ruled giants? Tuscaloosa, giants. We're the only ones explaining this. We did not eat corn, rice, and wheat. It closes your growth plates. We ate meat, venison, bison, lamb's quarters, one of the most nutritious plants. We were a tall people. The average European was like 4'9" to like 5'3". You walking around with people 6'1", 6'2", 6'5", 7 feet, 8 feet. Of course they look like giants to you if Shaquille O'Neal is standing next to the leprechaun. And you're Asians. This ain't your folk. They even talked about him and his wife, both being huge, with 5 children. Here's another book. Screenshot it. Here's the actual cover. Now they have this image in here that looks like Noah's Ark, and so we had to translate the Latin. Watch what this says. This is the translation, but the part that I want you to see is down here. How did the people look? Darkish in complexion. And so the point of this video is to show you that the 5 civilized tribes, Cherokee, not...
Yo, you disrespect your mom for the
son.
white devil,
yo,
son?
Hold on, wait a minute, son.
What's up with you,
hold on,
son?
Yo, I'll fuck you up, son. Disrespecting your mother like that, son.
Big Ice Cup!
I'll fuck you up, man. You ain't the white girl, man. You know what I'm saying? What the fuck is wrong with you, man? Listen to your mom, how many sisters he got?
He got 5 sisters.
Yeah, listen to your sisters, man. Leave the white devil alone, man. Before I come see you, man. Goddamn.
Need help? Please read.
Okay.
Black cop losing his family over a white girl.
What the fuck?
Looking for blunt advice and tough love. Well, brother, you've come to the right place.
God damn it if you haven't come to the right place.
My name is Blank from Boston.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit.
Okay, they got him.
Shit, they
got him.
The goddamn Irish.
Yeah,
the goddamn
Irish got him every time.
The goddamn Irish, man. I'm a 26-year-old black man who is engaged to a white girl, and my family is not having it.
Okay.
Because Boston is racist, nigga.
Yeah.
What do you mean her family is racist, fool?
Yeah.
I was raised by a single mother. I'm the youngest and only boy. I have 5 older sisters. I also have an older brother on my dad's side. My dad hasn't been in my life since I was 4. We have no relationship. I met my girl at a kickback with some friends 1 year I was home from college. I went to a PWI out of state on a sports scholarship. I went to a PWI out of state on a sports scholarship. We dated all through college, but of course we're in 2 different states. So I was dating other women at the school the whole time. My sister says if I was dicking other girls down, I would be stupid to think she wasn't getting dicked down.
Well, I agree with sis.
Sister got wisdom.
Yeah.
And he put raw. For 4 years while she was in school as well. And why would I ever want to come back and be with her? I told my sister that I let her know I was seeing other people while in school, and she was cool with it. And my sister said, yeah, and I bet that's because she was getting fucked for 4 years too. Jesus Christ, your sister is keeping it overly real with you, brother. Yeah, she was definitely not being faithful to you. Anybody's cool with you dealing with other people is also dealing with other people. First time I introduced her to my mom wasn't having it. She's just not with the black men being with white women, but she didn't say much and just let me be. My sisters are different. They played as if things were cool, but deep down I could see that they were just keeping it cordial. Time passed, I graduated from college, came back home, we linked up. We linked back up, the white girl and I've been together, and we've been together ever since. She hasn't met any of my family members other than my mother, sisters, grandmother, and a few cousins. My granddaughter doesn't like her, says she's nasty and disrespectful.
Lord Jesus, please save the white man. My heart's bleeding for our white heritage. Donald, you're a good man. You love America. And the only one trying to protect us in our Christian values. It don't matter that our first president owned hundreds of slaves. They were building a Christian nation. And we got to keep these Muslims out. They're a threat to our way of life.
When that money, man. Yeah. Hey, y'all got like Carmex in here? Huh? No, I said Carmex, like lip therapy. What you got? You gotta have something in here. What side? Like lip therapy, Carmex. Right. That shit you supposed to have in here, man. Right. All right, what I owe you for this? Where? Let me get that blistex right there. Thank you. Appreciate that, my man. Up top. Yeah. There you go.